So I made a video the other day of this Memphis Shift Knob that Matt made for me with the V8 emblem on it. And by the way, I hope I'm getting better video quality on this one than I did on that one, because that one really came out very poor. Somebody pointed that out to me, and I've got a new camera coming. It's a long story about why it's not here, but that's beside the point. I believe Matt told me this was threaded for an old Ford stick shift transmission, and he offered to make me an adapter for it to a later model or a different transmission, and I declined because I was thinking, well, what I'm actually doing with this, I'm putting it on a rod that comes out for a column shift automatic transmission. And what I'm going to do today is I'm going to use not JB Weld, which a lot of people use, but I'm going to use some of this Por15 Epoxy putty. Now, I have used JB Weld and it's good for a lot of things, but one of the things I noticed about using JB Weld, it is a plastic-ish, and to me, I think of it as a wet repair. It just feels wet and it feels plastic-ish. And I've tried it on something recently and I wasn't that thrilled with the success, but I was sticking glass and plastic together and that didn't work so well. This stuff I've used for bodywork before. Literally, I had a 55 Ford wagon with a rusted out gutter tray all around the top, and you know how long the top is on those, and I even had a body hole. And I put some of this on that and repaired it that way, and I saw some places where some other guys online had fixed gutter trays on those old cars that same way, because if you know what I'm talking about, a gutter tray on a hot rod, I don't have one with a top on it, but it's a little piece of curled metal that runs all the way around the top, and man, that would be a bear to fix the little rust holes in it. This stuff does a pretty good job. So good that I put some on a hump on the back of the car where there was a hole, and sanded it after I got through and spray painted over it, and it looked real good. So I was able to use this literally for body work, so that's how good it is. So what I'm going to do with Matt's shifter, I would love for this to be threaded onto that automatic shifter column, and the column, the handle doesn't have threads, it's just slotted. So what I'm going to do is I've got some of this dry film lube. And I think what this basically is like silicone spray. And what a dry lube will do is it'll lubricate something, but it won't be wet. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to squirt some of this dry lube right down in the threads. And I'm going to set that aside. And then I'm going to take parts A and parts B of the Por15 Epoxy. I'm going to mix enough together to put a piece down in there and fill that hole up. And then I'm going to push that onto the steering column and let it dry. My hope is that once it dries, that I would literally be able to unscrew this, because I'm hoping that the Por15 will not stick down in the threaded part here, but it will fill it up so that it holds it, and when I turn it to unscrew it, I'm hoping it'll have created threads that allow me to screw it on and off. Now, I don't plan to be removing this, but if I ever did, I would rather have done something to try to move me in the right direction on that than nothing. So this is me doing something. So I can tell I've got a pretty good bit of that stuff in here. The stuff leaves a little bit. See how it's kind of grayish, whitish looking? So when you get a bunch in there, it leaves a little bit of that discoloration, which is fine because I want it to be good and done, and it dries very quickly. So the next thing for me to do is cut me a little piece of this and this, mix it all together, and put it in the hole. I will probably turn the camera off from my mixing job, get me a little piece of cardboard to roll my stuff on, and then I'll come back and get you when I put it on the column. The nice thing about this stuff is as long as you don't let this touch that, it won't harden up on you. And I put it back in the sleeve, back in the wrapper, and I'll put both of these in a plastic bag later. And you notice I just pinched off a little bit, because that's all I need is a little bit to fill up that hole. So over here, I'll do the same thing. And when I pull this one off, Wipe that finger off that I just touched that with, but I'm not going to pull it off with the same hand that I pulled that first piece off with, because I don't want to infect the block of what I have left here with the stuff that I've already touched. So I've got two little pieces that are about equal. Wrap this back up, put it back in bag A, and set that over here. And then all we do with this, if we mix it together. Now you'll notice it's different colors. So what you want to do is you want to keep mixing it until it becomes one color. You don't want to have streaks of, you know, two different colors running through it, because this stuff, like I say, it interacts with itself. So you want it to be mixed well enough, and because they're two different colors, you can kind of see, like right now, they're still not mixed well enough. So I'll just keep on squishing it and twisting it around, rolling it and smushing it together and stuff like that. And it's starting to look like a pretty good consistency right now. We'll just do some more with it. This doesn't harden real fast, but it does harden. I guess it depends on what you think real fast is. Let's just say, probably you wouldn't want to leave this unattended for more than just a few minutes, literally a few minutes. So that's enough to fit down in that hole. So I'm going to slide it down in that hole, and I'm going to push it about as far as I can get it to go, and then pinch off what's left. And I won't ever be able to use that for anything because it's going to harden up. I'm just literally stuffing this down in the shifter ball. What I'll do is I'll go out to the hot rod and I'll stuff this on the Studebaker. I'll stuff this over that shifter, and I'll take a rag to wipe it off with. So I'll stop the camera now. So I'm going to line this up like I want it to be, with the V8 facing in the right direction. I'm going to push it right onto there. I'm going to put you down where I can put some horsepower in my hands. And I'm going to take the rag, go around the bottom of it, and pull off all the excess stuff. Now I'm going to walk away from it. We'll come back later and have a look. I thought I'd do kind of a day after video on the shifter knob. And I thought I'd do it with my phone instead of my camera, because my camera doesn't seem to be doing real good high quality videos lately. I don't know. I tend to think maybe my phone might be better. Now I think that's on there good and snug. There's no wiggle to it. I could try to yarn it off of there, and I might manage to pull it off, but then I'd have to come up with another way to stick it back on. And to be honest with you, the only real pressure that's ever going to be on this is me shifting it like this, you know. So, I mean, it's not going to be any great strong pulling against it or anything. So I think that is a much better look than that old Cutlass handle, and I'm liking it. I want to thank again Matt over at Mississippi, Michigan, no, Memphis. I'm starting to sound like cutworm now. Memphis shifter knobs. Yeah, anyway, thanks for that knob, man. That's good. I like that. I like that look a whole lot better than I like that other look. So thanks for that.